my first question is always the same, and then who knows where this will go. But my first question usually has to do with kind of take us behind the green curtain, a little bit of context as to how, when, and why you landed here. And then you and I can take it whatever direction we want here.
So, I've definitely had a, unique journey. I was I started off in the restaurant industry, and I did that for 13 years. I would say that's really probably what, taught me everything that I know today, as far as training, communicating. I mean, if you could imagine 13 years at 70 hours a week of misbehaved employees, customers yelling at you, my emotional intelligence meter is through the roof.
So that sounds like a boatload of fun.
I tell you, I'll be honest with you. It was a lot of fun, and it was a lot of fun until it wasn't. And I remember year 13, I woke up, I turned 30 years old, and I was like, what the fuck happened to my 20s? I don't want to wake up one day and be 40, like I was terrified. And all my bosses, for lack of a better term, were assholes. So every single one of my bosses, I was like, I don't want to be this guy. I don't want to, I don't strive to be this overworked punk, for lack of a better term. And so then this is how it happened, for all of us trying to quit our career that maybe we're so good at, maybe we love it. And the truth is, I loved the restaurant industry for so long. It literally allowed me to fight through all of the crazy stuff, the people throwing up. I mean, you guys don't see this a lot, but people do poop out, miss the toilet very often, and there's not like, I don't have someone to call, right? You know what I mean? It's like, it's me, and as the manager, I often did that work myself because I was the highest paid person in the building. I didn't find it right to give that to the lowest paid person, and, I've always had that attitude. So anyways, 13 years later, I don't want to even say burnout is the word. I'm just like done. I'm just like a switch flipped. Nick's ready for something new. I've literally mastered restaurants. There wasn't a problem I hadn't solved 100 times after that. So then I gave myself a date. So for anyone who's like wondering how they can make a change,
that's why this is good. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that worked really well for me is I set a date, and it was actually one of my college employees that inspired me. And he was like, hey man, I graduate in August. I was like, August, huh? I was like, no, I think I graduate in August too. You know what? I'm quitting this place. This is what I told myself. I'm going to quit this place or get another job by August. I don't care which one it is, but if I don't have a job by August, I'm walking out. If I do have a job, I'm putting in a notice. That was my rule. This is a true story. So I told myself August. Now that calmed down my anxiety of how much I didn't want to work there anymore, because I now had an end date. I was like, Nick, just get to August. Okay. However, on February 28th, one of my bosses did something that really pissed me off. And he scheduled me 90 hours a week for 6 weeks straight. I protested, and then they said that they would fix it. I came up to work the next day. It wasn't fixed. I walked out 6 months early. Honestly, as another little story of things that we don't realize are happening to us in our careers that maybe are poisoning us. Yeah. I had severe stomach pain. And one of the reasons why I walked out was I was actually just going to go to the hospital. I've been working so much. You don't always have time when you work that much and you need it the next day and you need it for 80 hours the next week. Sometimes you don't even want to go to the hospital for things because you can't even be out of commission, And so I remember I was like, you know what? It was like one of my excuses to walk out. I'm going to go to the emergency room. My stomach's killing me and I'm done dealing with this pain. I'm out of here. The day I quit that job, my stomach pain went away and it never came back.
I believe it.
And previous to that day, this is a true story, Chris. Previous to that day, if you would have asked me that your environment can cause physical pain on you, I would have said no.
Yeah.
If you would have said, if you're stressed out, that can literally physically hurt you. Literally before that day, 30 years old, I would have said, no, it wouldn't hurt you. But from that day moving forward, like my whole life changed. And I finally quit that job. And then I sat unemployed for 9 weeks. Okay. And that was hard. I'm used to working. I'm a monster. I have a work ethic like it's no one's business. So I sat unemployed for 9 weeks. I applied to every job I found, every job. No more restaurants. I'm done. Literally 9 months after leaving the restaurant industry, a career that I had mastered, and starting over as an assistant somewhere else. 9 months later, I'm working with Dean Graziosi, and he liked working with me so much, he pulled me in an office with the CFO and he offered me a job. And I was like, what is happening? You know, I've been a restaurant manager my whole life. $65,000 a year is what I was making after 13 years of working 70 hours a week. So, you know, it's like, that's not a lot of money. You know, now I make that a month. And so it's like, it's crazy to think, and I definitely don't work that much, you know, and it's crazy to think about how that happened. So
was that sort of your foray into like literally mastering the phone, or like talk about that bridge?
Right. I was like, Nick, you got to do something. You used to want to be a restaurant manager. That sucked. You used to want to be an executive. That sucked. Okay. So what's next for you, bro? And I was like, you know, it's time for me to invest in real estate. So I start pounding the phones. Mojo dialer, 300 to 600 cold calls a day for over 3 months. By the end of the 3rd month, lead mining was accidentally created.
I want the Wicked Smart listeners to hear 300 to 600 calls per day, not per month or per week. So go ahead. I just want an explanation point here and there. No,
yeah, absolutely. So I'll dive into that a little bit, you know, and I sympathize with everybody out there not wanting a cold call and not wanting this. Let's just not say cold call. Let's just say not wanting to do what we need to do to get the damn job done.
Yeah.
You know, and I knew that nothing was next for me. I knew that nobody was coming to save me. If I wanted to save myself, I had to put on my own fucking cape and I had to make myself successful. And I knew nothing was left. Now, one of my massive skill sets from the restaurant industry is working my ass off. So when I saw something like cold calling, I'm like, this really resonates with me. My first month, I did 14,000 dials myself. I had over 150 leads. I realized after my first month that I actually had to stop cold calling. I was cold calling so much, I was not following up it. I was so good at producing leads that I ended up having like imagine digging for something.
Yeah.
And then you turn around and the pile of all the shit is now behind you. And I was like, oh, wow, I got all these leads to
go. Good problem to have for most people if they would do the upfront, right?
Absolutely. You know, and it was great for me. Now, what that showed me was proof of concept. My first month ever, true story, ever cold calling. And I produced 150 leads and 15,000 dials, you know, and I crushed it. And when I was done with this, I didn't close a deal. I didn't close a deal, Chris, not a single deal. But I'm not there. You know, that was my partner's job at the time. And, you know, and because I'm that new, I don't even know shit. I just know how to pick up the phone and pound it, you know. But we ended up not closing a deal. But I don't care. I don't focus on the wrong part. I knew I had something special. I knew as bad as I sucked and as good as I did, that I could scale. You know, it was that simple. You know, as bad as I sucked and as good as I did, I knew I could scale. And that was really important. So right when that happened, I realized, you know what, Nick, you're not a closer. Okay. I'm not, you know, I'm a lead generator. Once I realized I can manage from afar and I have systems and communications and I have all these things to manage my entire team remotely. And that is what we do at Lead Mining. I have 23 employees. Every single one of them works from the comfort of their own home. And then once I realized I had those systems, I then implemented it to Lead Mining. I'm very competitive, Chris. So one day I wake up, and this is 4 years ago. 4 years ago, 2018, 3 years ago, 3.5. And I see this Filipino make a post inside of a real estate group offering their cold calling service, okay, with like broken English and like hire us to call for you. You know, it's like really bad. And, you know, my years in business taught me that, like, you know, if I think my product is amazing, then I'm doing you a disservice by not sharing it with you.
Agreed.
Right. So I see this Filipino step up, and nothing against them. I have Filipinos. And I'm like, Nick, like, you didn't let this chick outshine you right now, dude? Are you gonna let this happen right now, bro? So I make a post and it says, hey guys, I don't normally do this, but I want to share with you what I'm creating. I'm creating an all-American, that's how we started, only Americans, all-American lead generation company. Okay, only Americans. We charge by the dial, $200 for 500 dials. Bing, bing. I make this post. I don't even know what it said. I blacked out, for lack of a better term. That post went viral in that group. It got over 280 likes. People commenting their email. I didn't even ask people to comment their emails. People just started going crazy over this. It had 360 likes, 260 comments. Okay, and it was blowing up. I jump on there, and this is really, I think, the big lesson of the story here. I jumped on and took everybody's email immediately. Everyone threw their email up. I immediately, when I saw this huge response, what did I do? I didn't even have an email. I barely even had a company. You know, I just had something I'd been doing for 3 other people, you know? And so then I draft up 12 bullet points on why we're better. I got to find these in my email. This would be such a throwback. 12 bullet points to why we're better, or why we're amazing, and da-da-da. And I sent that to every person with my cell phone number, every person, 280 people. The next day, I stayed up till 2 a.m. doing it on the same day. The next day I wake up, I'm excited to see how many more comments it got. The post was deleted. Okay. And I was like, I wasn't that upset because I'd already capitalized.
Yeah.
Now, if I would have said, which how many of us would have said this on a Sunday, man, I'm going to get those guys tomorrow. Right? Man, that post was great. I'm going to take care of this tomorrow. It's Sunday. I'm with the fam, you know, blah, 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 you know, and if I literally would have waited till the next day, these murals wouldn't be behind me. I wouldn't be where I'm at. You know, we wouldn't be talking, you know, and it's like, it's really about striking while the iron's hot. If I would have waited, if I would have slacked, if I would have said tomorrow's the day. Yeah. That, you know, I wouldn't be here. Then I end up calling the owner of the group, because this was in a group. Hey man, what happened? Why'd you delete the post? He goes, dude, that's against our policy. He said, lucky for you, I was out on a boat all day and I didn't even have cell phone service, or I would have deleted that post already. So all these things in the universe really came together and allowed this to happen. So then I go, well, look, I already capitalized on the list, and thanks, but no thanks, whatever. I was frustrated, but I ended up hanging up with him. The next day, because those 280 emails, I literally signed up 20 clients.
Well, here's why this is cool. You, in telling your story just authentically, you basically gave them an entrepreneurial blueprint from pissed off, frustrated employee working your tail off to the journey to a business, and then how you just grind it out. I don't have my grit shirt on today, but you did just grind it out. So I love it. smartrealestatecoach.com/lead mining pros. We'll put that in the show notes. Talk about that, Nick, for a few minutes. Like, what does that mean for them? They're brand new or they're seasoned, because we have all kinds of listeners here on the Wicked Smart community. Talk to them about that. What can you do for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, lead mining is, you know, I think most of us are investors here. So yeah. Lead mining is what I call a create your own adventure book for real estate investors. Now, what that means is we can pull the list, we can skip trace it, we can cold call it, and we can text it. I have a package that has all of those together, and it's, of course, the cheapest you can find all of my services because they're all bundled up, or I have all those broken out individually. So if you have a list and it's already skipped, that's okay. If you just want it texted, that's okay. If you just want it called, that's okay. And we also offer no contracts, no commitments. So what I have is, I really need to make like a flow chart almost, because it's like, what service do you want? List pulling, great. I can offer absentees, owner occupieds, or cash buyers. I keep my list pulling very simple. And the reason why is there's really no better list to cold call than an absentee list.
I love it. I love that one.
You know, and it's because every other list is too distressed. You know, if your list is, if this is only for cold calling, I'm not saying lead generation.
Yeah.
But if your list is too distressed and you're calling them, you know, raise your hand if you ever talk to a pissed off person. It doesn't go good. No, it doesn't matter what you want out of that conversation, you're not getting it, right? And so when they're too distressed, they're not really prepared to talk about selling something. At least that's going to benefit you. They're too busy trying to benefit them, right?
Quick question on absentee. Has the conversion gone through the roof with COVID? I gotta imagine yes.
So here's what's weird about absentee is the lead flow has actually dropped.
Okay.
The lead quality has improved. So one thing very, very weird, very weird. We've got customers buying stuff. My assistant, who is actually outside right now, he's one of my clients, and he has had 3 2,000 dial packages, and he's gotten 4 leads off of those, which is honestly horrible. I'm not gonna lie, we should get like 8 leads minimum on each one of those. He's gotten 4 leads on those, but he's closed 2 deals. He's made over $50,000 on 4 leads. And so like, that's what's been happening with more clients recently.
Yeah.
You know, is the lead flow is going down, but the lead that's coming in is the real deal.
Love it. Love it. So you got sort of an a la carte, which is pretty simple. It's super simple the way you said it. What did I not ask about Lead Mining Pro? What did you not say that you'd like to share, Nick, just as we wrap up? Because I'm going to put it in the show notes, but I'm going to probably get you on a Wicked Smart sit down and do some other things with you. And I want them all to hear that, but they need to jump on this. So anything else you want to add?
Yeah, so some huge benefits are, number one, my cell phone number is the number on the website. So I don't hide behind email. I don't hide, actually don't email me, call me. Okay, if you need me, you call me. You only email us whenever you need my team to do something, right? But I am 100% there for you. Leverage my expertise. We're no contracts, no commitments, no setup fees. Each one of our packages are individual single serving packages. You have 2,000 records, buy 2,000 dials. That's it. You're happy with it? Send over 2,000 more records, buy 2,000 more dials. So we keep it very simple. You're never contracted to us. You're never stuck with us. We also offer Americans and Filipinos. Filipinos are half the price, but they're also half the result. So that technically means it's the same cost per lead. Yeah. So you get to decide on your approach. It's going to be the same cost per lead. But, you know, so definitely check those out. I love our Filipinos for the cost. You know, and a lot of the times there's only some markets where Americans required. And, you know, that might be like closer to the South. Okay. You know, and those are like the only markets. Everywhere else, I highly recommend going in a Filipino first, seeing the results, and then just knowing that the Americans could be better if you wanted it to be. You might still close a deal, spend half as much, and then still be happy. So I offer Filipinos, Americans, no contracts, no commitments, no hidden fees, and I'm here for you. So we do a couple of things. Number one, we text message your KPIs the very next day. So if we dial today, you get a text tomorrow morning. How many dials we made, how many people picked up the phone, and how many leads we generated. Nice. At any point, you can screenshot that text message and text me and say, Nick, what do you think of these stats? Is everything looking in line? If you have any bit of confusion or curiosity, let my expertise guide you. hey, those actually look pretty good. Da, da, da. Hey, whoa, hey, what's going on there? Let's make a change. You know, we don't normally have any issues unless someone brings an outside skip trace or an outside list. Now, I actually like it when people bring their lists, but the people that have bad luck are the ones that don't know what kind of list it is. That actually happens. People will pay me $500 to $1,000 to cold call a list. We won't get good results. And then I'll say, well, what kind of list was it? And they say, I don't know. And I'm like, why did you pay me $500 to call a list that you don't know? So, so those are sometimes in like Fiverr skip tracing. When someone uses Fiverr or Mojo, what's another bad one that comes up? But you know, definitely those two, Fiverr or Mojo, or they found some guy. Those are the only times we really normally have, hey, stop the campaign. We need to make an adjustment. But otherwise, I do offer that service. Any confusion, any questions you have, I'm just a phone call away at any time. So I think that's probably one of the biggest benefits is you get to leverage my expertise alongside your non-contractual campaign.
I love it. I was going to ask, what are some of the mistakes? You just name one without me asking. What are any other mistakes that you see people make that you say, hey, if you're going to come to lead mining, don't do this? One of them is that. Anything else you can think of?
You know, I can share a couple mistakes in general. You know, number one is if you're calling people yourself, don't address them by name. You know, address them by their address. Hey, I'm looking for the owner of 123 Sycamore Street. And the reason why is it could be the right person and the wrong name. And that could be more common than you know. Yeah. So a lot of people out there, they go, hey, I don't get those good results. How do you do it? And I can already tell they're probably doing 5 things wrong in their operations.
Yeah.
You know, when using us, some things you can do right is when we send you a lead, you need to call them within 15 minutes of receiving it. You know, you need to get them on the phone for yourself. You cannot just leverage us. You know, a lot of people, just like I said about the post I made in the group, I'll get it tomorrow. Okay, no, you won't. And they won't. They're not there tomorrow. We just got off the phone with them. You need to call them. You know, it's really that simple. So being an attentive investor, respecting everything. So when you hire us, you're going to blow up. We're going to outbound cold call, and we put your phone number on our outbound dials, which means that about 5 to 10% of people call back. So your phone is going to be like, you're going to be getting text messages like, hey, can I call you later? And it's not you calling. All right, hey, you just called me. So now we're just outbound. We don't handle inbound. But that is, our customers have that opportunity to sometimes double their leads by answering those inbound calls. They can actually, I have scripts for that and everything. But so, you know, I think a lot of people, and it's okay if you don't, we call everyone that doesn't answer up to 3 times. So you're still covered. But let's be real here. We're trying to make some money. Okay. And if the answer of you, if the situation of you answering a phone call that came in and you say 3 sentences and get a lead on the phone, then that's still a lead. That's still from my service. Right. Yeah. And so we do, my phone's blowing up right now. All this phone talk's got the universe bringing in. I just got like 3 phone calls. But so like to really make sure that we are there, that we are doing the damn thing. You know, this is not a part-time sport, even if your life requires it to be, because that one call you didn't take, that one call you didn't make is the one call you needed to. And, you know, I was talking to a buddy the other day and he says, Nick, it's funny how we don't always leave a lot of room for success. And what he was alluding to was exactly what I'm talking about right now, which is at the end of the day, when we're tired and we've got the bourbon poured and we're trying to relax and that phone call comes in, that's actually the phone call that we need to take. But we tell ourselves that we've earned, I had such a good day, I did so much, you know, I'll take this tomorrow. You know, we don't leave room for success. Maybe we're so frazzled by the day that one more call, we just can't handle it. But, you know, I just want to share with you guys that push, that drive is the blockage, right? That
Love it.
issue, as soon as you overcome that, you're going to get that breakthrough.
Again, a lot of grit and a lot of entrepreneurial stuff in this whole chat. I love it, Nick. One more question actually just came to mind. So there's different niches, obviously, listening in our community, right? We do terms, other people do wholesale, whatever. So do your callers accommodate? Doesn't really matter what niche they're in?
Yeah, so we are very good with terms deals. What we do is we're very vague. We don't pigeonhole the sale in any direction. And so guys, I'm going to cover this script with you. Now this script is amazingly vague. Okay. And it's exactly what you want. And the reason why is you don't want to put off any vibes to these people that you only do one thing, right? You want them to know that they can call you for anything real estate. And then you can now have them talk about whatever you want, right? Especially, I think, in a creative terms. I don't know about how you guys teach it, but my advice would be to get them on the phone first and talk about what you want later. Okay. Make the relationship and then talk about the terms deal. It's going to be a much easier conversation if you do that. But here's our script, and we keep it vague on purpose. Hey, yeah, hi, I'm sorry to bother. I'm looking for the owner of 123 Sycamore Street. Yeah, that's me. Oh, hi, my name's Nicholas, and I was wondering, have you ever considered selling before? Now, we say ever, right? Now, what we're doing here is we're like, I call it cracking it wide open, right? Ever in your damn life considered? So, and you can hear people, no, nah. And then now we have a whole new rebuttal. Oh, are you sure? Certainly sounds like you or your wife, were one of you guys thinking about selling, now, oh yeah, but that was 3 months ago, the market's going through the roof and da, da, da. So like really pay attention to some of the nuances that I'm saying in this script. Okay. It is super simple, but it's not super simple. Yeah. This was literally created. We've done over 4 million cold calls at Lead Mining now. And this is the best we got after 4 million cold calls. So have you ever considered selling? These sassy sons of bitches, yeah, how much you want to offer? Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, Sally, we don't normally make offers until we find out that you're interested in selling. Glad to hear you might be. Do you have a couple of minutes for me to ask you some questions about the property before we make an offer? Yeah, I sure do. Okay, great. All right, so now we go into what I call the 12 questions. I'm going to rattle these off pretty quickly. I'm sure you guys might be able to tell I have this pitch 5 times a day.
They can hit replay a few times. That's okay. Time-wise, yeah. Rattle them out.
Yeah, and this is also on the website, which you sent them a link to. I offer a free script at the top, so everyone can get a copy of what I'm saying. Right.
That's good. That's another good nugget. Thank you. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So 12 questions. Any general repairs needed on the house? How old is the roof? Is there a tenant in the property? What's your reason for selling? Is there a mortgage on the property? If so, how much is left? If not, are you open to owner financing at all? Then there is, what's your current timeline to sell? I don't normally do these so slow. What's your current timeline to sell? Then we ask, if we made a cash offer in the next 24 hours, how much would work for you? Then we hit them with, is there a better phone number for you? Is there an email address I can get from you? When's the best time for my partner to reach back out to you? All right, great. Thank you so much for your time today. I'm going to get this over to my partner, and he's going to give you a call in the next 24 hours, and he's probably going to want to come out and see the house.
Perfect.
And that's it. And we don't say, if they say, are you a realtor? We say, that's one of the things we can do. Are you with this? That's one of the strategies that we have. We make sure not to pigeonhole any of our investors. Yeah. Now, some people, this is funny. I'll just share this with you real quick. We'll send a lead over and people will call me up upset. Nick, that's not a lead. They said they they wanted to sell in 3 months. That's not a lead. And I was like, okay, so next time you want me to delete it? Well, no, don't delete it. I'm like, so what are we talking about again? I get it. right? Whenever we buy, especially when we pay for a service, right?
Yeah.
We probably want a little more out of it, or, you know, whatever it might be, you know, but there's so many nuggets. First of all, sir, how many times did your phone ring today? Did you pick up any of those calls? You know, we have a mutual responsibility here, you and I.
Yeah,
You
right
know?
on.
I had one guy, my last short story, I had one guy call me up, use my services. He didn't get one lead, not one lead. He gave us $250. It's our smallest all-inclusive American package. Normally we get a minimum of 2 there. He did not get one. And then he said, Nick, I made $13,000. So how the hell did you make? He goes, Nick, a guy called me back a week later, and I answered the phone. And he said, hey, some young gal called me about buying my house 2 weeks ago. I'm ready now. You know, and that's my favorite story about my service. That guy got no leads and made $13,000. And that just goes to show you how, you know, particular, you know, lead gen is, how we have that mutual responsibility.
Cool wins. And Nick, again, entrepreneurial and lead nuggets throughout. So I'm going to give them the link again because they can go get the free script if they do nothing else. And I'll put it in the show notes, smartrealestatecoach.com/lead mining pros. Nick, it was awesome hanging out. We're going to talk again about getting involved in the community, I know. So I look forward to that and make it an awesome week. Thanks for being on, buddy.
Hey, thank you, Chris. Appreciate you.